Hello, Morongo Basin and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. This is your Z107.7 Local News for Sunday, April 5th, 2026. Public lands continue to come under attack under President Trump's second term as the Department of the Interior continues to strip staffing from the national parks while Congress works to introduce public land sell-offs into legislation. In the Trump administration's 2027 budget proposal, the National Park Service budget has been reduced by $736 million, which the National Park Conservation Association says will most likely result in the further reduction of thousands of park staff. In a severely divided political spectrum, public lands can be one of the issues that could help bridge that divide, especially here in the Morongo Basin. To the east of Joshua Tree National Park, the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center sits just outside 29 Palms, and it's the largest United States Marine Corps base in the nation, covering over 1,100 square miles, and up to 45,000 Marines as well as other U.S. and allied forces trained at the combat center each year. And last month, the nonprofit Vet Voice Foundation held a roundtable discussion at the Mojave Desert Land Trust with 4 veterans giving their perspectives on why public lands matter to them and why these public lands should continue to be protected. Janessa Goldbeck is the CEO of the Vet Voice Foundation and a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. She led the discussion with Chairman Emeritus Glenn Lodge of the Chemehuevi Indian Tribe and also a U.S. Army Special Forces veteran, Nick Borelli, who's a licensed clinical social worker and a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, and Barry Scanlon, an artist, military board member, and U.S. Marine Corps veteran. Each person on the panel talked about how public lands and public land access has been an important part of their lives, their military training, and their reintroduction into society after serving in the armed forces. The event was also attended by members of the public, and after the presentation, I caught up with each one of the speakers to discuss the connection between public lands and veterans.
We've seen a lot of attacks from Republicans in Congress on public lands, and we've also seen some Republicans break ranks with the administration and the majority to join the Public Lands Caucus in a bipartisan way. And in fact, that bipartisanship was what helped defeat the public land sell-off effort last year. We want to continue to see that type of leadership from both Republicans and Democrats. For Republicans to hold those in their party accountable who want to sell off public lands, they really need to step forward and say, hey, selling off public lands is a third rail political issue, no matter if you vote Republican, Independent, or Democrat. Americans have demonstrated that that's the case, and we need elected officials to recognize that and vote accordingly.
The Mojave Desert Land Trust hosted the presentation, and Public Policy Officer Christian Lahaj was also on hand to answer questions about public lands advocacy. He and the MDLT are hosting free advocacy training workshops in April that can help you get acquainted with public lands policy, as well as learn how to make your voice heard by decision makers. The first one is coming up on Wednesday, April 8th. They're free and take place over Zoom, so everyone is encouraged to attend. We'll have links to those trainings, sources for everything mentioned in today's story, and my interviews with the rest of the Veterans Voices panel. That's all at Z107.7 FM.com. That's your local news for Sunday. You can hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.